Hello there, I'm Nadia Azmi, and you are tuning in to Nightline, the top stories. Khazanah's sale of Kidzania Singapore, PM to summon management. And Home Ministry to look into civil servants' role in human trafficking. Good morning. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim will look into the sale of a Singapore theme park owned by Khazanah Nasional Berhad at a substantial loss. This was following a report by a news portal about the Sovereign Wealth Fund's sale of Kidzania Singapore to Sim Leisure Group for a mere 110,000 Singapore dollars, or about 380,000 ringgit.
Mengenai Khazanah, apa bagaimana dekat Kidzania Singapore yang kena jual tu?
Datuk syarat itu.
Datuk Seri Anwar, who is also Finance Minister and Khazanah Chairman, gave the brief reply to reporters after he performed Friday prayers at the Raja Haji Fi Sabilillah Mosque in Cyberjaya. The report said that theme park operator Sim Leisure Group had purchased Kidzania Singapore after it went into liquidation, including all of its non-movable assets. Khazanah and Boosted Holdings Berhad, which launched the children's indoor theme park on Sentosa Island in April 2016, initially injected 48 million Singapore dollars, or 165.52 million ringgit, into the project. However, Kidzania Singapore closed its doors permanently in 2020 after being hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. The theme park reportedly generated only 51.7 million ringgit in revenue and 28.6 million ringgit in losses after tax due to poor management. Meanwhile, at the same event, Datuk Seri Anwar said the government would not interfere with the authorities' investigation into opposition leader Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin. The Prime Minister said he had not been informed about the Inland Revenue Board (IRB's) alleged raid at the Bersatu Secretary General's residence.
Itu urusan lembaga hasil dalam negeri, urusan pada penyiasat. Saya tidak ada maklum.
According to media reports, the Larut Member of Parliament's house in Damansara, Kuala Lumpur, was raided by IRB last Wednesday due to allegations of unreported taxes. It was also learnt that Datuk Seri Hamzah was at home during the raid. IRB also seized files and documents related to bank accounts and ownership of assets. In his tweet, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim on Friday congratulated two Malaysian schools that were shortlisted in the top 10 for the 2023 World's Best School Prizes. The two schools are SK Sri Permai in Pulau Pinang, which is listed in the Innovation category for its Smart and Easy Table SNET 2.0, while SK Kanchong Darat in Selangor is in the Supporting Healthy Lives category for its Great Mind Healthy Citizens program. Datuk Seri Anwar praised the educators and children for their achievement and also wished them more successes in the future. The live announcement on the top 10 list on Thursday was greeted by loud cheers from both teachers and pupils at SK Sri Permai. Its headmaster, Muhammad Sabarullah Shaikh Ismail, said the SNET 2.0 was the school's answer to the heavy school bag issue, which has been plaguing pupils for years. The world's best school prizes, founded last year by T4 Education based in the United Kingdom, celebrate schools that have significantly impacted their students, their wider community and society. A prize of $250,000 will be shared equally among the winners of the 5 prizes. The top 3 finalists for each prize will be announced in September, while the winners will be revealed in October. The Home Ministry will look into the alleged involvement of civil servants in human trafficking cases, as stated in the U.S. Department of State's 2023 Trafficking in Persons TIP report. Its Minister, Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, said it was one of 15 recommendations which had urged the government to increase efforts to investigate and prosecute trafficking cases as distinct from migrant smuggling, including those involving complicit officials and forced labour crimes.
Di sana direkodkan ada perkara yang telah kita comply, ada perkara yang kita ada lagi kelemahan. Sambil itu dia kata bermula penilaian 1 April tahun ini sampai 31 Mac, kita ada lagi 15 perkara penambahbaikan yang kita kena tumpu.
Datuk Seri Saifuddin said civil servants allegedly having a hand in human trafficking cases was also mentioned in the US TIP report 2022, stressing it was something that the Madani government would not compromise with. He clarified that it is not that civil servants who are doing the trafficking themselves, but they exploit the loopholes in the processes of regulations, law and enforcement. The minister added that Putrajaya has until March 31st next year to fulfill the 15 recommendations to curb human trafficking and forced labour in the nation in order to receive a better ranking in the next report. Other recommendations include increasing efforts to identify trafficking victims among vulnerable populations, including household workers, as well as labour in the palm oil and disposable glove manufacturing sectors, among others. The USTIP report 2023 said the Malaysian government made key achievements during the reporting period, considering the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, if any, on its anti-trafficking capacity, and was therefore upgraded to Tier 2 watch list. It said such achievements included initiating more trafficking investigations, prosecuting and convicting more traffickers, and prosecuting complicit officials. In the meantime, Dato' Sri Saifuddin clarified his Thursday's statement regarding the presence of political patronage in the country's illegal gambling activities was done following a briefing from the police and urged that the police be given space to organise their strategy regarding the matter.
Apa maksud naungan politik? Akan wujud elemen protection, influence. Dan itu bagi kesan kepada polis sebagai badan penguasa terbesar dalam negara. Okey, akan ada elemen bribery and corruptions, rasuah dan suapan, okey, dalam banyak bentuk yang mungkin yang boleh merencatkan keberkesanan kawasan polis. Jadi apakah polis ada maklumat? Jawapannya ada dalam radar, okey. Sebab itu mengumpulkan data yang tepat membolehkan kita membuat targeted action, okey. Dan itu bukan satu maklumat orang kata boleh kita hebah secara umum gitu. Itu akan menjejaskan pekerjaan pasukan polis.
At the Dewan Rakyat on Thursday, Dato' Sri Saifuddin said political patronage had undermined the political will and determination to effectively tackle the issue of illegal gambling in the country. The political patronage, he said, provided influence and protection for corruption and bribery within the gambling sector and to deter action. Dato' Sri Saifuddin was replying to a supplementary question from Sungai Buloh Member of Parliament, Dato' Ramanan Ramakrishnan, who asked about the impact of political patronage on online gambling and its hindrance to police intervention. Malaysia has recorded a total of 1.37 trillion of approved domestic direct investment DDI between 2013 and the first quarter of this year. According to the Investment, Trade and Industry Ministry, MITI, DDI remained equally important despite the focus on foreign direct investment FDI, which has been recovering since the COVID-19 pandemic. The DDI that has been approved was mostly in the services sector with 1.0043 trillion ringgit or 73.3%, while the manufacturing sector received 291.8 billion ringgit or 21.3%, and the primary sector with 73.9 billion ringgit or 5.4%. Many of these investments, particularly in the services and manufacturing sectors, have fostered innovation and enhanced Malaysia's global competitiveness. For the manufacturing, selected services and primary sectors under the Malaysian Investment Development Authority, MIDA's purview, a total of 9,976 Malaysian-owned projects have been approved, with investments valued at 408 billion ringgit and with the creation of almost 490,000 jobs. In Pahang, a man who was sentenced to 7 days behind bars for assaulting a woman driver in relation to a viral road rage case in Lata Iskandar last week received 9 more days in prison from the Cameron Highlands Magistrates Court on Friday, this time for slapping 2 waiters. Magistrate Kasiratul Jannah Usmani Othman meted out the punishment after Muhammad Zaim Faiz Tarmizi pleaded guilty to the 2 charges against him. The court also imposed a fine of 1,000 ringgit in default of a 9-day imprisonment for each charge. The 29-year-old factory supervisor who was just released on Thursday was accused of voluntarily causing hurt to V. Dennis Pillai, aged 23, and a foreigner, Samir Das, at a steamboat restaurant in Tanah Rata on June 4th. According to the facts of the case, Muhammad Zaim Faiz had hurled abusive words at the 2 victims because the food he ordered arrived late, before slapping Samir Das twice on the left cheek and Dennis Pillai 4 times on both cheeks. Both charges, framed under the Penal Code, carry a maximum jail sentence of 1 year or a maximum fine of 2,000 ringgit, or both upon conviction. The court ordered the accused to serve the jail sentence from the date of his arrest on June 15th, while his wife paid the fine. Police have opened 2 investigation papers over an incident involving a boisterous female civil servant in Gombak, Selangor on Thursday. This comes after 2 video clips were circulated widely on social media in which the person was seen shouting at 2 policemen in Taman Sri Gombak, Batu Caves. State Police Chief Dato' Hussein Omar Khan said in the noon incident, a complainant claimed that the woman scolded him for being noisy at a neighbour's house and threatened to hit him. He added that the woman also berated and made fun of the 2 junior police officers and did not relent when asked to show her authorization card. Following the incident, he said police initiated investigations into a report by the complainant under the Penal Code for criminal intimidation and another from a junior police officer under the Penal Code and Minor Offences Act for obstructing the duties of a public servant and for behaving in an insulting manner. In one of the video clips, the woman was heard telling one of the policemen that he was just a lance corporal and should not act like the district police chief. The suspect was later identified and called to the Gombak Police Headquarters for questioning. 2 dead over Cyclone Biparjoy. This and more from the Foreign Front right after this short break. The foreign news. In the UK, Conservative MPs head to their constituencies on Friday, with the party facing deep divisions over Monday's vote on the Privileges Committee's report into Boris Johnson. The Commons will hold a free vote on Monday on whether to formally approve the report, which found on Thursday that the former Prime Minister deliberately misled Parliament over lockdown-breaking parties in Number 10. The vote is largely symbolic, given Johnson is no longer an MP, but it threatens to cause deep rifts within the Tory party, with some of the Conservative benches insisting that Parliament's procedures should be upheld, while others threaten retaliation for anyone who votes in favour of the report. Johnson's allies meanwhile admitted that it is expected for the Parliament to approve the report, with opposition parties united in favour of it and mass abstentions expected on the Tory benches. Japan's age of consent was raised from 13, among the world's lowest, to 16 years old on Friday, as lawmakers passed key reforms to sex crime legislation. The reforms, which also clarify rape prosecution requirements and criminalize voyeurism, cleared Parliament's upper house in a unanimous vote. Under the new law, teen couples no more than 5 years apart in age will be exempt from prosecution if both partners are over 13. The bill contains a list of examples under which rape prosecutions can be made that include victims being under the influence of alcohol or drugs, being frightened, and perpetrators taking advantage of social status. Japan's age of consent had been unchanged since 1907, with children aged 13 and above deemed capable of consent. At least 2 people have been killed when the longest cyclone to have struck the Arabian Sea, Biparjoy, knocked out power in nearly 1,000 villages and threw shipping containers into the sea in western India before moving to Pakistan. A man and his son died while trying to rescue their cattle from being swept away during heavy rains and floods. The storm made landfall a night earlier, packing wind speeds of 85 kilometers per hour, gusting up to 105 kilometers per hour through the coastal regions. According to a top district official, gale force winds caused hundreds of trees to be uprooted in the coastal areas, and heavy rains led to electricity poles being damaged, causing thousands to be without power on Friday. In neighbouring Pakistan, the cyclone had no major impact, with rain reported in some parts of the southern metropolis of Karachi, leaving authorities on high alert after evacuating 82,000 people. Several cities in northern China broke heat records for June this week, with soaring temperatures straining the country's electricity supplies and leading authorities to hold mock emergency drills. According to the China Meteorological Administration, the mercury in Beijing hit a record of 39.4 degrees Celsius on Friday. Following this, it advised the public to reduce the duration of outdoor activity and beware of heat stroke, as the capital is expected to broil in 37 to 39 degrees Celsius until Saturday. The Tianjin Meteorological Observatory also raised its warning level to red, with temperatures expected to hit 40 degrees Celsius. The persistent heat has already put the country's power grid operators on high alert, with some cities in the south warning firms and people to curb usage. Pocket Rocket Man in 7th Heaven. Sports when we come back.
Ayo semarakkan sokongan anda untuk Harimau Malaya. Siri Persahabatan Antarabangsa. Secara langsung hanya di TV9 dan Astro saluran 149.
Welcome back. On to sports cycling, the Asian Track Cycling Championships. National top cyclist Dato' Azizul Hasni Awang regained his status as the continent's sprint king after emerging victorious on Friday night. The 35-year-old, who had won the sprint title 6 times in 2008, 2009, 2014, 2017, 2019 and 2020, defeated Jakarta Nations Cup silver medalist Kaya Ota of Japan 2-0 in the men's elite sprint final for a record 11th gold medal overall in the championships. After a day's rest, Dato' Azizul Hasni will begin his quest for his first Asian Kirin title in 8 years, having last triumphed in his pet event at the 2015 edition in Thailand. A victory on Sunday will see him repeat his 2 gold feat in sprint and Kirin achieved at the 2008 edition in Japan, where he also claimed the team sprint silver medal. Moving on to tennis, the 2023 Stuttgart Open. Second seed Taylor Fritz held serve throughout as he started his grass court season by defeating Aslan Karatsev to reach the quarterfinals. The American defeated Russia's Karatsev 7-6, 6-3 in a 1 hour and 25-minute match. Fritz saved 1 set point at 4-5 in the first set before he broke Karatsev at 3-2 in the second set to put himself on course for the win. The second seed will meet Marton Fucsovics in the quarterfinal. Earlier, Hungarian qualifier Marton Fucsovics edged out Chinese Yi Bingwu 6-4, 4-6, 6-4 to move into the quarterfinals. 31-year-old Fucsovics went down in the second set but managed to claw his way back in the third to seal the win. Also in the last 8 was Richard Gasquet. The 36-year-old rolled back the years with a 7-6, 2-6, 7-5 win over top seed Stefanos Tsitsipas. He will now face Jan-Lennard Struff for a place in the Final 4. Struff edged 2 tie-break sets to beat Tommy Paul 7-6, 7-6 in the round of 16. The match between the Germana and American took more than 2 hours to be completed. Still to come, 2 detained with shabu worth more than 600,000 ringgit. Don't go away. Welcome back. In Kedah, police arrested 2 men and seized 18.64 kilograms of shabu, estimated to be worth 671,220 ringgit in a raid on a homestay in Sungai Jagung near Sungai Petani on Wednesday. State Police Chief Dato' Faisal Saleh said both suspects, aged 34 and 35, were arrested while removing a box from the boot of a Honda City car in the compound of the homestay. Upon checking the box, police found 18 green plastic packages containing shabu, believed to have been obtained from a neighbouring country. Police also seized the vehicle and another Perodua Beza car, as well as 500 ringgit cash during the operation. It was learnt that the homestay was used as a transit point before the drug was distributed to other states, especially in Kedah. The suspects also tested positive for methamphetamine and had previous drug-related criminal records. The duo have been remanded until June 23rd to assist investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. In Pulau Pinang, police have detained 38 people for alleged involvement in an illegal money lending activity in a special operation to combat the menace posed by loan sharks. State Police Chief Datuk Kor Kok Chin said those arrested comprise of 34 men and 4 women aged between 21 and 72. Speaking to reporters after a working visit to the Timor Laut District Police Headquarters, Datuk Kor said police launched the major crackdown on loan sharks on June 5th. Those arrested were found to have been involved in several old cases for which investigation papers have been opened. All 38 detained were being investigated under Section 5, Subsection 2 of the Moneylenders Act. Asked if those arrested had anything to do with the criminal threats made against him recently, Datuk Kor said the matter was still being investigated. Earlier, it was reported that the Pulau Pinang police chief received a threatening letter from a group of Along who had allegedly threatened Datuk Kor not to take action against them or they would retaliate. It is learned that the computer-printed letter written in Bahasa Malaysia was sent to Datuk Kor's office at the State Police Contingent Headquarters along with 6 pieces of held money banknotes. The matter is being probed under Section 507 of the Penal Code. 2 schoolboys fighting for their lives in the hospital after drinking carbonated drinks mixed with thinner over a week ago in Pitas, Sabah, have died. The victims, both aged 17, were warded at the intensive care unit after falling ill following the drinking session with a group of schoolmates from SMK Pinggan on June 8th. Kota Marudu District Police Chief Superintendent Zairul Nizal Ishak said the first victim died due to multiple organ failure as a result of methanol poisoning at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital at 4:08 p.m. on Wednesday. The other teen was pronounced dead by doctors due to severe brain injury or cerebral toxicity secondary to acute methanol poisoning at 4 p.m. the following day at the Queen Elizabeth II Hospital. Both deaths have been classified as sudden death cases. The 2 boys were among 27 students aged between 13 and 17 of SMK Pinggan in Pitas who were hospitalized after consuming the drink on June 6. They fell ill and were taken to the hospital after their condition worsened 2 days later. Meanwhile, Sabah Health Deputy Director Dr. Asid Sana in a statement said as of 10 a.m. on Thursday, the department had received 48 notifications of suspected thinner poisoning from the incident. However, only 27 students were confirmed as methanol poisoning victims following a lab test, and the other 25 students have been discharged from hospital. In Pahang, a 19-year-old teenager who was reported missing while bathing at Chiang Waterfall in Bentong was found drowned by search and rescue personnel on Friday morning. A Pahang Fire and Rescue Department spokesperson said the body of Muhammad Akmal Husni Muhammad Rizwan was found at 9:52 a.m. Members of the water rescue team who conducted the search operation found the victim's remains at about 5 meters from where he was reported to have fallen. His body was then handed over to police for further action. Muhammad Akmal Husni, a student at a religious school in Perak, was on a 4-day camping trip in the Waterfall area with 14 other students since Wednesday. The victim was reported missing after being swept away by the strong currents while bathing at about 10:30 a.m. on Thursday. And that concludes Nightline this time around. As we wrap up, let's take a look at a giant painting in Switzerland depicting a crumpled plastic bottle directly onto the grass with a view to raising awareness about pollution. The fresco painting, which was made by using chalk and charcoal, is expected to last for 2 or 3 weeks in Lausanne's Louis Bourgeois Park on the shores of Lake Geneva. You have been with me, Nadia Azmi, for the past half an hour. Thank you for tuning in and have a great weekend.